Most people didn't walk away from Jesus. They walked away from people who claimed to follow him. And that truth is uncomfortable, because somewhere deep inside, many of us know it's real. When people talk about losing faith, they rarely say it was because of Jesus himself. They talk about being judged, controlled, shamed, or constantly reminded that they were never good enough. Slowly, without even realizing it, Jesus stops feeling like hope and starts feeling like pressure. But what if the Jesus people rejected was never the real one? What if the real Jesus was never meant to crush people under rules, but to lift them out of shame? That question matters today more than ever, because we live in a world full of religious noise. Everyone has an opinion, everyone has a verse, everyone claims to speak for God. Yet somehow, the actual voice of Jesus feels harder to hear than ever before. Jesus once said something that sounds shockingly modern: "These people honor me with their lips, but their hearts are far from me." He wasn't speaking to outsiders or atheists. He was speaking to religious people, people who looked faithful, spoke the right language, and followed the system. That alone should make us pause, because it means it's possible to talk about Jesus every day and still miss his heart completely. In Jesus' time, people had clear expectations of what God should look like. They expected power that dominates, a leader who would destroy enemies and reward the righteous. What they didn't expect was a man who would sit with sinners, eat with outcasts, touch the unclean, and defend the shamed. They expected strength from the top. Jesus knelt down in the dirt. That's where the misunderstanding began, and that's where it still continues today. If we're honest, most of us have met people who are very religious but not very kind. They know verses but lack empathy. They follow rules but forget people. They are quick to correct others and slow to examine themselves. And if you've ever been on the receiving end of that, it hurts. Maybe it was a teacher who embarrassed you in the name of truth, a family member who used God to control you, or a community that loved your obedience but ignored your pain. Those experiences don't bring people closer to Jesus, they push people away from him. Jesus directly confronted this behavior. In Matthew 23, he told religious leaders that they cleaned the outside of the cup while the inside remained full of greed and pride. That wasn't anger for attention, it was grief. Jesus didn't come to build impressive religious systems. He came to restore broken hearts. One of the most human moments in the Bible is found in John chapter 8. A woman is caught in adultery and dragged into public shame. She isn't quietly corrected, she is exposed. Men surround her with stones, not just stones of punishment, but stones of judgment and superiority. They ask Jesus what should be done. Jesus doesn't argue or shout. He bends down to the ground, placing himself at her level, and says, "Let the one without sin throw the first stone." One by one, the stones drop. Jesus doesn't deny sin, but he refuses to turn a human being into an object lesson. He tells her, "Neither do I condemn you. Go, and sin no more." Grace comes first. Transformation follows. That order still matters. Today, stones aren't physical. They are comments, labels, screenshots, and public shaming. People don't ask how to restore, they ask how to expose. And often, Jesus is used as justification. But Jesus never used shame as a teaching tool, and that alone should make us rethink how we represent him. There's a reason people love certain verses and quietly avoid others. God is love feels comforting. Love your enemies feels costly. God forgives feels safe. Forgive the one who hurt you feels impossible. Jesus was never interested in protecting comfort zones. He was interested in healing hearts, and healing always requires change. In Mark chapter 10, a rich young man approaches Jesus. He is polite, successful, and religious, the kind of person most communities admire. He asks what he must do to inherit eternal life. Jesus looks at him, and the Bible clearly says he loved him. Then Jesus asks him to let go of what he holds most tightly and follow him. The man walks away sad, not offended, not angry, just unable to let go. That moment reflects many of us. Jesus rarely asks for random sacrifices. He asks for the thing we quietly depend on: money, status, control, approval, or comfort. This is why many people reject Christianity today. Not because of Jesus, but because of hypocrisy. They reject a faith that speaks about love but practices exclusion, that preaches humility while chasing power, and that demands perfection without offering grace. Jesus warned about this. He said people would recognize his followers by their love, not by their arguments. One of the most overlooked truths about Jesus is that he never forced anyone to follow him. He invited. When people walked away, he let them go. Love without freedom is control, and Jesus never controlled hearts. His invitation still stands: "Come to me, all who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest." Not fear. Not pressure. Rest. So maybe the real problem isn't Jesus. Maybe it's how we've represented him, edited him, softened the challenging parts, and weaponized the convenient ones. And the question that stays with us is this: are we following Jesus as he truly is, or just a version of him that never asks us to change? Because the real Jesus doesn't just inspire, he transforms. And transformation always begins with honesty. If you found this content valuable, please give us a thumbs up and share it with others who might benefit from it. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell to stay updated with our latest videos. Together, let's continue growing in our spiritual journey.